Hey guys, welcome. My name's Jay. If you're new to this channel and you just look for a review on a frontier sawmill or a sawmill of any sort, welcome. If you're one of our usual viewers, welcome back, guys. Today we're going to do a video talking about sawmills, particularly the one I have, the Frontier Sawmill OS 27. I'm going to give you a kind of a 2-year review. We've had that sawmill for 2 years. I'm going to show you a little bit of the functions of it and try to tell you some of my, complaints and some of my loves. So, again, if you're new here and you're looking for the review, I'm going to walk down to camp where the sawmill's located on another part of our property. We have milled a lot of the wood for this cabin, not all of it, but a lot of it. All the beams and siding, and we have a large deck, wraparound side deck. We milled all the wood from trees here on our property. Let's walk down to camp. I'll talk to you just a little bit while we're going down there, so give me 1 minute to kind of explain why we got the sawmill we have. So first off, I am not a professional sawyer. I am what you would consider, I think, a hobbyist. And this sawmill falls into that category. This is a more economical style sawmill. Introductory level, I guess you could call it. I'm going to give you a rundown on the prices and the costs of everything with this sawmill and all the projects we've gotten done with it over the last 2 years. And yeah, I'm excited to do this video with you guys. I've tried to make this video once or twice, and the footage and everything didn't turn out so well. So here's our, I don't know how well you could see it up there. There it is. It's in the shade. But we milled all the beams, all the posts for the deck, the wraparound deck. We milled all the oak beams for this covered porch. Only thing we really stuck with dimensional lumber, and it was kind of to help speed along the process, was rafter boards, long rafter boards. If any of you guys have milled at all, moving around a 16-foot log is a little more difficult than moving around an 8, 10, or 12. So anything longer than 12 foot, I basically purchased. And or for dimensional lumber, nice straight lumber that's already aged. That's another thing too. Most of the stuff that we've used here is green lumber. So rafter boards probably aren't the place to use green lumber. Green lumber tends to, have shrinkage, has a tendency to warp and twist a little bit. So rafter boards aren't really where you want to do that. Also, interior framing with green lumber is kind of iffy, because if you are in the process of framing up like a stick frame building and you want to use like 2x4s, 2x6s, you use green lumber closing the walls, well, that moisture is still in that lumber and it's not good for mold and moisture and stuff like that. So you'd have to build the building, allow it to dry before you could close in the walls. You see a lot of people do timber frame. Timber frame with green wood could probably be pulled off. I don't know if that's how they do it. I think they do timber frames with green wood. But then you're not covering up the wood, so it could dry after you assemble the building. Guys, if you're new here, again, this is our 15-acre property. We're simple people here. We purchased this property in small increments so we could afford it. This sawmill kind of goes hand in hand with this. A lot of times on YouTube, there's a lot of channels out there, introductory people, rookies like myself. I'm not a professional, so don't take you're not going to see anything here today that's going to say, hey, this is exactly what you should do or how you should do it. I'm just telling you how I have learned over the last 2 years, and I'm hoping I can cover a lot of the bases with this. So here on our 15 acres, we have primarily poplar, maple, basswood, and a little bit of beech, a little bit of ironwood, stuff like that. So what we've done primarily so far is we have all these really mature poplar trees, 60, 70 foot poplar trees that are, 12 to 20 inches round. They're close to 70 years old because that's the last time the woods around here was harvested. So all the trees here you see are about 70 years old. Some of the poplars, I assume, were the ones that were left over for repopulation stuff. That's why they're so much bigger and round. Plus, they grow faster. So, let's get to it. Here is my Frontier sawmill. This is the OS27. Let me uncover it here for you real quick. All right, again, the Frontier sawmill, the OS27, is an introductory slash hobbyist style sawmill. If you're looking for something commercial grade, you know, this isn't the mill for you, but for the traditional person who's just looking to do this as a hobby or have some projects around the homestead that they need to have a sawmill for, this is a perfect saw for you guys. More often than not, here on YouTube, when you guys see a lot of hobbyist homesteaders, they have the Woodland Mills HM126. This Frontier sawmill is made by Norwood. Norwood has their more hobby level sawmills that are more affordable for maybe people more like yourself and I. If you're a commercial guy and you're going to try to make lumber for a living and do huge scale stuff, this probably isn't the saw for you. But for most people who are just doing this to build projects, build outbuildings, build lumber, use lumber from their property, this is a perfect option for you guys. When you have made the decision to purchase a sawmill, first thing you want to do is find out the dimensions and build yourself a good platform. We made that mistake, / we rushed into it because we did things about a year earlier than we were ready for, and we purchased the sawmill, got it within about 8 days, and we brought it here and assembled it over here where this pile of wood's at, just on timbers on the ground. So it worked really good for us for a couple months, but there's a lot of vibration, a lot of shaking with a sawmill. So as you can imagine, when it's just sitting on timbers and this ground's not perfectly flat or excavated, it did vibrate, get uneven, cause some issues with the lumber that we were milling at that time. Because we had so much other stuff going on, we just kind of roll with it, dealt with the lumber not being perfect. The lumber that we did get, we ended up using for the deck, and it kind of gave it this old rustic look, maybe handsaw and stuff look. And we don't hate it. We actually really enjoy and like it. It doesn't look like dimensional lumber deck, all symmetrical, perfect. But it worked out great. Again, everything we milled here thus far pretty much is poplar. So again, back to building a platform. We're back here in the bush, not terribly far, but hard to get to in comparison to most places. We're out in the woods, and you can't get a cement truck back here. And I wasn't going to build a cement platform for this. Tons and tons of bags of concrete. So what I did is I took 6x6 timbers that we purchased that are ground treated, sunk them in the ground 3 to 4 feet, and put these runners here and set the mill on this. This has been like this for the summer. It hasn't shifted, hasn't moved. It's been great. Our lumber has been nearly perfect. Real quick, I want to get down to some of the specs of the sawmill. I believe this comes out of New York or Ontario, but it is backed by a great company, Norwood, which has more commercial grade and larger scale sawmills. The sawmill comes with 2 sets of tracks. With those 2 sets of tracks, I think you can mill just under a 12-foot board. I purchased the 3rd set of tracks so I can mill a full 16-foot board. Each set of tracks is 7 feet, so you get 7, 7, 7. That's 21 feet minus your minus your power head here that can't slide X amount of far, so you lose 1.5 feet, 2 feet on each end. The OS27 comes standard with a 10 horsepower Briggs & Stratton. One thing that I decided to do was upgrade the motor. I upgraded to the 13.5 horsepower motor. It was only a $250 upgrade, and I think it was money well spent. Last thing you want to do is have a small motor struggling all the time. You're better off having a big motor running at ease. So that was an upgrade that I made, and it was well worth the money in my opinion. They also have options to put electric start. I didn't go with that option because the motors that had electric start were on back order. I would have had to wait 2 to 3 months to get it. Another reason we ended up with this, and probably not a Woodland Mills, is because when I went to order Woodland Mills, they were 3 months out. I didn't want to lose a whole summer of milling, so this is how we ended up with the Frontier sawmill. Again, I had a great amount of confidence because this is built and backed by Norwood. When you call a tech or a support company, you get Norwood. You don't get Frontier Sawmill, somebody overseas. You get Norwood's support system if you have any questions or needs. Guys, my initial impression of the sawmill was it was built pretty well. All the railing, all the bunks seem very, very strong, very, very well built. It is a very long process to assemble a sawmill. It took Jen and I better part of a week working on it here and there. It's not something you're going to do in a weekend or one day. I think it's going to take you, 3-4 days minimum to assemble a sawmill and do it correctly. Some of the things I like about the sawmill are it has always started very well for me. The only time I ever had any trouble with it starting was due to inside the casing here, where all the bandwidth, all the pulleys, and all the wheels are at, and the belts and stuff. There's a couple of safety sensors in there, safety switches, that when these doors are open, it will not start up. So if you're spinning the wheels, checking your caster, checking your tracking, and you can't accidentally start it when those are open. So it's probably a good thing, but because they were not adjusted perfectly, I couldn't get the sawmill to start. The first year I kept struggling with it, and then I finally realized that those switches were just off a little bit on adjustment. So the way I sidetracked that is there's a little slot here, and you could just take a stick and push the little pulleys. Let me open one up and I'll show it to you real quick. So all this stuff is, in my opinion, designed very well to make it very practical and functional. There's a little switch hole or little handle holding that. Over here, you put this up, and that holds the door up. Here's the switches I was telling you about. Now this doesn't feed out. I think this is a common problem with all sawmills. They get jammed up with sawdust, and they don't flow 100% well. Well, here's the sensor, or the little switch, that was giving me problems. You can hear it click. Well, when the door is closed, it wouldn't quite close it. So like, it's doing it now, of course, but I would have to stick a little stick up in here and push these in. There's one on both doors. This door doesn't come off quite as easily because you have this adjustable track, which you could adjust your guides. I think a lot of the guides on all this stuff are pretty standard too. Little screws on the side, or bolts, that you could adjust your guides, your tolerances. You only want like a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch so the blade can flex just a little bit. Everything's pretty easy. There's Allen wrenches back here, so you could slide this back and forth or tilt it. Again, I think this is pretty standard design on most sawmills until you get into the fancy ones. So the watering system could have some improvements, and I don't honestly know if I even have this set up right. Maybe it's supposed to be on this side of the blade. If it's on this side of the blade, it's by the tree, and it could get bumped. So this water pours right here by the guide. This gets caked up with sawdust, and this line is too long, so you like have to fiddle with that once in a while and get the air bubbles out of it. You get like an airlock in it. So, but you know, I have milled quite a bit. I have milled quite a bit. I would say, I mean, I have no idea how to even gauge, but like I said, I milled all the siding for the cabin. I milled all the beams for the deck. I milled all the beams for the covered deck that we did this summer. All this stuff I'm showing you, talking to you guys about. We have videos on the builds. So if you are interested in building a cabin or building anything, and you're not a professional and you want to see how I've had some, struggles, and doing something's better than doing nothing at all and never doing it. So we're learning, and yeah. This is a 144 inch or 144 inch blade. All that stuff, it's irrelevant, but everything's been pretty quality, guys. I haven't run through a belt yet. I haven't burned through a bearing, knock on wood. I haven't burned through anything. I haven't had any parts wear out yet. So the blade is really easy to change. You saw the pulleys in there. All you do is turn this T-handle. All you do is turn this T-handle 5.5 turns counterclockwise. It loosens the tension on the pulleys, and you can pull your blade right off the front. And then you put your new fresh blade on, tighten that up 5 to 5.5 turns. Your track adjustment or your guide adjustment's pretty easy. If your log's a wider diameter, you just lift this up, pull it out for a wider log, push it in, and what that does is change the depth, or change the, you have a bigger log here, you need to pull this out. You want this guide as close to the log as you can get. What that does is help take some waviness and take some take flex out of the blades. The adjustment system is worked great. The scale here, I don't really use that. I mean, I use it, but I do double measure everything. The watering system, like I said, the watering system could use, you know, I don't know. Again, there's no directions really how to set this up, so maybe I have it set up wrong. But you just open this up, pour some water out. But yeah, so sometimes you gotta jiggle the hose, not a big deal. But it takes the water down there to your blade. You can see it pouring out there. I just like, you could adjust it more. I just barely crack it, so it's a nice steady flow on there, and then you close it. This is aftermarket. I had to fix this because I broke it while we were moving the sawmill. Anyway, we have the 420cc Briggs & Stratton XR Professional, 420cc, 13.5 horsepower. Guys, if you've been here a while, you know that, and I fully admit it, I am not great with maintenance. Never changed the oil in that. Probably changed that in the spring after 2 years of using it. But it's been a great sawmill. No complaints other than, like I said, little finicky stuff like them switches. But if you're somewhat mechanical, somewhat, you know, have a little bit of skill, a little bit of common sense, knowledge, you could track down, as you know, as things become more complicated and more safety oriented. A lot of times those little fail safes give you hiccups, but that's at no fault of the sawmill, just part of technology and part of advancements and safety precautions. So just like every other sawmill, I mean, you got your bunks here that you put up to stop the log from rolling off the back. This system, I can't compare it to any others. This is like your stabilizer. And then you have, it screws in here, so it screws into the side of the log and holds the log in place. I do have a little bit of rust and peeling on my bunks, but those get a lot of wear and tear from logs being on them, rolling on them, sliding on them, stuff like that. So again, guys, this is not a one-day assemble project. I mean, you get bags and bags of bolts. They do deliver it right to your house. You can have it delivered to residential, like comes on a semi-truck, but it's heavy freight, so you better have somewhere to put it or a trailer to throw it on when they bring it. I don't know how much it weighs. I mean, it's got to weigh over, I think the head itself weighs 400 pounds, so it's got to be 1,000 pounds of metal and power head, so you're not gonna move it by hand real easy. All right, so a lot of people want to know what it costs to get into a sawmill, and they wonder if it's worth the investment. Is it worth the investment to get into a sawmill? And in my opinion, yes. I did a video a few weeks back or a few months back about solar and is it worth it? In my opinion, I keep it simple and it's well worth. The sawmill is as well. The sawmill is paid for itself probably tenfold already. And you wonder, well, what's tenfold? The sawmill comes standard with 2 bunks, 10 horsepower motor, everything else you see here. And that was a $3,300 purchase, $3,300 US, currency before any upgrades. Now, $3,300 was 2 years ago. I think I just checked the prices, and I still think this sawmill is $3,500 or $3,600 for the OS 27. You can go down to an OS 23, and I think spend $2,500 in my opinion. You know, like I said, again, with the motor upgrade, having the motor upgrade, just like anything, you know, stepping it up one level doesn't hurt anything. Better not regret it than be sad that you spent 90% of the money and didn't spend the extra 10 or 20% and have anything and everything you need. So first big upgrade I did was this extra extension. Like I said, it comes with two 7-foot extensions. What that allows you to do is, like I said, I think 11-foot 7-inch board, just under 12 feet. Well, I want to be able to do a 16-foot board if I want, so I ordered another 7-foot section. No additional shipping and stuff if you order it at the same exact time that you order your mill. So I ordered a bunch of goodies, so there was no additional shipping to put it all right on the pallet. That extra extension was $400. The only other upgrade, like I said, I did was I upgraded from the 10 horsepower motor to the 13.5. That was a $250 to $300 upgrade. So that takes us to $33, $37, $4,000. I did order a pack of blades, 5-pack of blades, and the blades were, I believe, $15 a piece. So you're spending, you know, $100 in blades. So that was $4,100, and then I bought like a $300 maintenance slash extra parts kit. It was like the more expensive deluxe kit. Comes with, I haven't even opened the box honestly, but I think it comes with maybe an extra belt, extra bearings for all the pulleys, all the stuff that could do wear and tear, probably extra guides, stuff like that. So that was a $250, $300 thing. So shipping, I believe, was $400, $395 for shipping. Which that takes us closer to $5,000. For some reason, I looked at the pamphlet the other day. We had $4,400 into this sawmill. So you say $4,400 is quite a bit. Why wouldn't I just buy maybe like a Harbor Freight model? Well, I think the Harbor Freight model sawmills now are $2,500. I don't think you're going to get the support system. You're not going to get the parts availability. You're going to get no support. And finding parts will be fun. So if you're handy and you can make your own parts, or you could take them to a shop and find them and do this, do that, awesome. But with this system, you know, I have another $1,000 to $2,000 invested into it. I have a support system if I need it, and a catalog with parts availability. Plus, there's a nice network of people out there. Frontier Sawmill has a Facebook group. We're part of that. You know, they've featured some of our stuff on their page once in a while from our projects that we've done. So Frontier Sawmill, I'm sure Woodland Mills has the same thing. So if you guys want to check out a review for the Woodland Mills, check out a channel by the name of Mishy Goss. She just did a review on her Woodland Mills. She mills a ton of stuff too, has done a few little cabin builds, a few little projects like, you know, all with lumber that she's milled, wood sheds, stuff like that. Awesome channel, awesome lady. She has fun videos, and I enjoy her channel very much. That's actually when I was researching if I could do sawmill slash poplar logs. That's how I found her. So if you guys want to go over there, show her some support, check out her Woodland Mills sawmill review on her channel. Again, Mishy Goss. So her and I kind of chat back and forth here and there, give each other a hard time, so that's fun, and support each other, so that's awesome. If there's anything I'm forgetting, guys, here, please do me a favor, ask questions, put them in the comment box below, because I am pretty poor at like writing down a list of everything I want to cover. I think of it while I'm out here doing stuff, but I don't have pen and paper or my phone on me, so I forget by the time I go. So I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we have forgotten that I've forgotten on this review, but I hope it could be somewhat helpful. Coming from a guy who has zero experience with sawmilling, you know, I have chainsaw experience from heating my house with wood. I have outdoor experience, but zero experience with lumber. I'm not even a wood maker or a carpenter. So building this cabin was a dream of mine. And Jenny has been here with me. Jen has been here with me along the way, and we've had an awesome time the last 2.5, 3 years following this dream. And, you know, this sawmill's been a huge help. This sawmill, again, is it worth it? Has it paid for itself? Tenfold. all the beams that I use for the covered porch and the deck, all the siding, the deck itself. The deck we did about 400 square feet of wraparound deck. We did the maple beams underneath the deck. We did all the all the joists, and all the deck boards. That in itself would have been a $5,000 bill back when prices of lumber were a little higher. They have receded a bit and come down, so that's good. But this sawmill's paid for itself just in that deck build. That's not including all the siding. We have the cabin completely sided with live edge siding that we have milled from the poplar logs here on the property. All the maple that we've milled has been from the property. Everything. The only stuff that we did not get from the property is my buddy cut down half a dozen oaks, large oaks, 15 to 20 inch diameter oaks. So I had 9 beautiful logs that I milled this summer, and I used those beams for the covered deck. And other, I made posts for the ground, for the foundation of the bedroom, and the beams for the bedroom addition we did this summer. So we have tons of videos, guys. I don't typically focus on the sawmill much because the cabin is the bread and butter of the channel, but the sawmill made it happen. Has made it affordable and has made it a delight. Like I said, I get, just like anything else, just like cars, just like anything with a motor, just like anything mechanical, it has its shortcomings and can be irritating at times. I run through blades sometimes. The guides get off kilter. You chuck a blade once in a while. Adjusting the track on that is a little bit of a job, but the directions show you how to do it, tell you how to do it. Once you figure it out, you're probably going to have a 6-month to 12-month learning curve, but after that, you're in business. So do me a favor. Like I said again, guys, sorry if I got long-winded here, but I kind of just talk and see what comes out. I don't prepare these videos real well, so I apologize. So any questions you have, any input, anything, if you have a sawmill and you have any advice, something that you see, hey, this design's better, if you have any questions at all, I 100% will comment and respond on this video to everything and make sure that we have answers, questions. Let's get a good dialogue going here if we can. Anything I can do to help. So if you're looking to get into a sawmill, consider the Frontier Sawmill. Consider the Woodland Mills. I know people have had good luck with those. Again, those have some kinks, and Michigas talks about that too. There's some things that they had to work out. But Frontier Sawmill, supported by Norwood, made by Norwood, a larger company that's into sawmills. It's a great option for you guys, and I think budget friendly in my opinion. So, but you might have to save up for it for a little while. Like I said, $4,000-5,000 isn't a drop in the bucket, but if it pays for itself and it helps support your dreams and the projects that you have going on in your homestead or your off-grid property or in anything, in just a cabin up north, it's worth having. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with me during this video. I appreciate you. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a little bit of something about sawing. I'm going to make a sawmill playlist for you guys. There's tons of videos with sawmilling in it. But again, I don't focus and normally talk like I'm a professional, because I'm not. But I felt comfortable enough doing this video for you guys now because it's been 2 years since we got the sawmill, and I have enough experience to at least talk about it and share my experiences. Have a great day, guys. Like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel if you can. Help us out. And ask questions in the comment box, or tell me anything you think I need to know in the comment box, and we'll talk about it. Okay, best wishes. Hopefully we see you in the next video, guys. All right.